Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All You Can Geek Gamecast, episode 504. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gast, joined by Mike Sneedy.
What's up?
Corey Feinsod.
Yo.
And Tony Korkanakis.
Whoa.
Welcome, guys. Welcome, listeners and viewers, to 504 of the Gamecast. Woo! So, yeah, guys, we just got done with our movie cast, talking X-Men a lot on that one, so check that out.
20 years, man. It's crazy.
20 years of that.
Of the movie.
Yes,
of the movie.
X-Men has clearly been around for longer than 20 years.
Yeah.
Sure, 20 years of the movie.
The Bryan
Singer movie.
What that did.
I just wanted to clarify it because, you know, there's going to be some internet person saying, X-Men have been around. They don't know nothing. Like, what are you talking about?
But, like, that's what I'm going to talk about here. Is like,
they're so stupid. They don't know what they're talking about.
Have we had that definitive X-Men game yet? Like, and I want to talk about that. Let's hold that.
X-Men
Legends.
Have we?
No, I know. There are some good ones. We were going to talk about that in a little bit. Put a pin in it. Talk about it in a little bit. I'm teasing, guys. Don't talk about it now. Let's get into what we've been up to first.
Later.
Yes. Let's get into what we've been up to first. I unfortunately did not get to play much this week, which is frustrating because I'm so close to finishing Doom. Grand Theft Auto 5, obviously, aside. I want to finish Doom up before I get Paper Mario, which is coming in Friday. And I'm psyched to play that game because I'm like, I have that itch to play more RPGs because, you know, I read the news about Final Fantasy VII and how that is actually still being produced right now. They're still working on that game from home, which is awesome to hear because, you know, that lowers our expectations to get it from 6 years to 5 till we get to see the next one. So come on. It's a joke, but it's serious. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds pretty soon. You know, who knows? Could be like from 7 to 8 or 8 to 9. Who knows?
I'm mentioning that to bring up the point of like, Corey, what have you been up to?
Oh, did I talk? I didn't say. I didn't mention I finished it.
Did not mention last week.
I said on the Discord. Yeah, so I did finish Final Fantasy VII. Finally, it was cool.
Yes.
Got the remake, obviously, and yeah, I like where they ended it. It was kind of expected. I was like, yeah, you know, you knew that they were focusing on, you know, Midgar and not going to be kind of leaving that at all in this game. And so getting to the point where we did, and then, you know, seeing what came after. And I did talk to Tony a little bit about some of it. And because I did remember playing Crisis Core on PSP, and that stars Zack as the main character. And they basically recreated the sequence from that game in the ending of this game.
Do they? I mean,
guys,
listeners, if you have not finished this game, sorry if we actually, you know, mention any spoilers, but it's been long enough now to if you accidentally do it, it's not a big deal.
It's been 4 months. So.
Yeah, but like
it's also a remake of a game that's already been released.
Exactly. Yeah. A lot of people are upset with that finale, though, like because it's like kind of changes the whole story of Final Fantasy VII.
What I did like was what you mentioned, Tony, was like that this game, which again, like we have these remakes, you know, Resident Evil and things like that, kind of switching things up a little bit. You know, in this game they switched up a lot, obviously, because you spent so much time in the city. But now you're getting to explore more things and like make it new for people who've played it before and remember everything. Like I didn't remember a lot of the stuff. It's been too long, but
it's yeah.
But yeah, there's certain sequences like, oh, this is straight from the old one, but then like you're getting all this new stuff for it. And so like I thought that was really cool. And then this ending was like, whoa, this is pretty awesome because they're kind of splintering it and making it this whole side alternate reality type of thing, which is pretty neat.
I think that's a cool idea.
I mean, that's just a theory. For the most part, but
we don't know. I mean, that's the thing. Is it a spoiler? You're guessing.
Right.
We don't know. So
yeah, and you're getting all these weird, you know, like I do like the idea of certain characters kind of seeing both sides. Like that's kind of neat.
Yeah. I think it'd be cool to have that, like, you know, Aerith, being able to kind of see that both parallel kind of thing. At some point.
Right. It's like, well, decisions that were made in that game are they going to be the same decisions that were made in this? Are going to be made in this game? We'll see.
That was a big.
Yeah. Oh, I was just gonna say it's really interesting because like what I did, because like this game reinvigorated my love for like just the memories of Final Fantasy VII. Like it's one of those things where like I feel like I really enjoyed 7 when it came out, but it's one of those things I could never go back to because I don't think it like a lot of other games.
Visually, it's really hard.
They didn't age well. but like reinvigorated my passion for it, and I was just so interested in like seeing this stuff. And there was this gigantic Reddit post that just dissected all these segments of the game that was like pretty much like the game characters hinting at more of the things. And one of them that you don't even probably think about, but like there's this one exchange between Cloud and Aerith where she's like, "Oh, so you're a mercenary, huh?" And he's like, "How'd you know that?" She's like, "Oh, you have a sword." And it's just like, you don't think about that, but you're like, wait a second. Combination with this, and this, she obviously knows. Like, she knows. Right?
He's dressed exactly like some other guy. So
right, exactly. It's like right, exactly. So she knows all, she sees all. So it was really cool.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of like nuances to it.
There was a lot of flack they got for that ending because they thought that they thought that they're going to drastically change the story that we know and love. And I know that the producer and the director had to come on record saying that they're not changing things drastically.
They are. That they just said that.
But I agree. And you know what? Though,
the thing is, screw that, man. You have the old game.
Yes,
like, give me something new here too at the same time. It's cool.
Absolutely. I
plus, like,
completely agree.
you shape it as an alternate timeline type of thing. You can do whatever you want then.
It brings it to another level of like that factor of it. I'm more interested to play the game.
I mean, I look at it like the Star Trek reboot.
I'm gonna get something different here. Yes, like I'm gonna get something for the first time experience. Like, yeah, there's stuff that I want those original like game like the players that have never played the original to play, but then go back and play the original. It's everywhere. You can get it everywhere. Go back and play the original. I'm happy that they're giving the fans of the game that new experience. I think that's a cool feature. I really would love that. Let's dive deeper into this. Let's expand this out. There's certain things that happen, obviously death-wise, that I still think there should be to make that still impactful, even in this universe. But who
knows? I mean, that's the thing. Now, there's this freedom to
but they have that, yes,
to do stuff, right?
Like, divert expectations and
right, exactly, yeah.
Who knows now? It's like I'm excited because you can't just like, oh, I know this is gonna happen next.
Right, like next game is gonna cover disc 2, guys. Like, whatever.
Yeah. So it's exciting.
I can see that disc 2 was not as impressive as disc 1 was.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, go on.
But no, so other than that, which is interesting because there was another kind of re-release of a game that I started up, and this is Persona 5 Royale.
Oh, nice.
I started that up. And the opening sequence, you get a new part to it, and so far there's been a couple things that they've changed, but like obviously it's still about the protagonist and Joker, whatnot. But it's kind of interesting because this girl just kind of interjects and you meet her, and obviously the opening sequence, if you know the game, it takes place after. Yeah. Right. Yeah, it takes place after the stuff you play through, and so like that sequence that comes in, you're like, wait a second, what's going on here? And then it's kind of spot her, and she comes up later on, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out and everything. So excited to see that, but it's good, really good game. So unfortunately, I lost power for like the entire day on Saturday.
Yeah. Well, it was bad storms. We had bad storms.
School's Mountain where I live was closed.
Corey texted me. He's like, "You have power?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Can I bring my PS4, bro?
Yeah.
I couldn't actually. Couldn't get down my road.
He was blocked. The tree came down right around. Right on the way to my house. It would have been. Yeah. There was a lot of trees down by me. Yeah. So luckily, I was good. But
so I played that. I actually played a couple of things that were on Game Pass, like golf with your friends or something like that. Played a round of that just because it was goofy, and played some Streets of Rage 4.
Nice. Yes, good. Yes. Yeah, I should play that soon. But
the art's really great. It's like so funny because I remember playing Streets of Rage and like Axel, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is amazing. Like it's even better than what I remember it looking like, and obviously, and so, but it's still the same game essentially. Like, god damn it. But I do think of High Score Girl because the similarities to Final Fight.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, it's cool. I did try the new girl Cherry just because I was like, oh, let me check her out, see what
she's all about. Character with actual mobility in the game.
So yeah, that's what I've been playing.
Okay. Tony?
Let's see. Played a couple games. One was I tried on Game Pass. Children of Mordo.
Okay.
it's an interesting roguelike game where I'm trying to think of the way to explain it. So like you play as like
asymmetric with like a really pixely graphics.
Really pixely graphic, yeah. But it's got a cool twist because like you have several characters because they're all a family, and as you progress in the story, you unlock other members of the family, and they each have their own like skill sets. So, like the dad is the stereotypical like I don't know adventurer type where he's got a shield and a sword. The eldest daughter is like an archer. Like the eldest or the youngest son is like a rogue, thief type character. He's a lot of stealth and quickness and stuff like that. And they each have like upgrade trees with skill points and stuff like that. And they, as you level them up, they unlock skills for the entire family. Like they teach the family and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. It's hard, died a lot, but enjoyed that. So thanks, Game Pass. Second thing
I played that
is,
also.
did you?
The graphics, I couldn't really see very well. Like
that's my biggest criticism because I'm just like, wait, what is that? Anime?
Because the coloring, like everything just kind of the same color.
Blends in together, blends in together.
Plus, like all the pixelation, like what's happening?
It's like not my preferred pixel style.
No, because it's too
pixely,
far back. Yeah. Like what's it called? What's the game?
Flashback.
The roguelike game recently that's been really popular. It's on.
Oh, Dead Cells or
Dead Cells, yeah, like that pixel art is fine. Like I can
that's
understand
good.
it. I can see what's happening, but furthermore, I couldn't really tell what's going on.
Yeah. So we'll see if I continue it. But with this weekend, Paper Mario and Ghost of Tsushima come out, I was like, I can't. I'm not about to buy two games on the same day. And I was like, because they're drastically different genres too. RPG, Ghost of Tsushima is like the open world Assassin's Creed whatever style game, and I was like, wait a second, I have another samurai game that I haven't beaten yet. So I went back to Sekiro because I continued my Dark Souls 3 Bloodborne replay, and now I'm back to Sekiro because I stopped like halfway through the game.
Studio Japan was it?
From Software.
From Software. I don't know why I think Studio Japan. They helped with Bloodborne, right?
They helped with Bloodborne. But I guess I'm just a sucker for punishment right now because I started, progressed a little bit, and this one, like, you fight this one character, and this fight was challenging. I was like, all right, that was good. And then like another boss later, you fight like a rematch style, and he's just absolutely absurd. And I was like, what the fuck? Like all the strats I had developed for the first time doesn't even matter. Like he has like half new moves and whatnot, and it took me I would say probably like 30-40 tries to finally do it, spread over like 2 days. I was just like, why do I do this to myself? Like I regret it, but I felt so accomplished because like I'm looking at it, I'm like, 15% of players beat this boss. Like, all right, there we go. That's challenging and stuff like that. So I'm going through Sekiro, almost done with it. I think I'm in the last segment of the game, and then third game I've been playing is I picked up a couple games on Steam sale because that ended this past week. First time in a long time I've done it, and I've been itching to play a couple shoot 'em up games recently. So there's a thread on Reset Era where people are talking about different shoot 'em up games, and there's this one called Zero Ranger. It's only on PC. It's pixel, like I'd say like NES style pixel, so it's like my jam. This game is awesome. It's like this blend of like shoot 'em up and like anime, because like at a certain point in the game, it's like whatever, it's like 2-3 hours long, but at some point you like upgrade your ship and you like are a mech. So instead of like shooting projectiles, you have either like a giant sword or a giant drill, like freaking Gurren Lagann, and you can eat bullets and stuff like that. And this game like kind of like breaks the fourth wall a little bit because like they constantly tell you like oh, because like it's about enemy AI like doing all this stuff with like spaceships and whatnot, and it's like it goes through these loops where it's like, oh, you're in a simulation. Now you're in a simulation of a simulation and stuff like that. So I get to the what I think is the last segment of the game, and they're like, okay, cool. So we're gonna send you back in time so you could fight, the Prime Evil or whatever like that before he becomes godlike or some shit. And I'm like, okay, yeah, right, like sounds good to me. Like I got that. And then like you only get one chance at this, okay? And I was like, all right, whatever. Like going along with the story and stuff like that. I fail because the last stage, they completely throw everything out the window in terms of like what you're supposed to be doing, especially in a shoot 'em up. In this last stage, you just are like your character is flying. There's no mech, there's no ship, nothing like that. You can't fire anything. So I'm just like, do I have to wait for a power up to appear? I don't understand. No, what happens is you have to purposely use your hitbox to hit enemies. Like you just run into them like your Sonic or Mario with the invincibility. That's how you hurt them. But I didn't know this. And you're not invincible. That's how you damage them. Like you still get attacked. So I was like, okay, well, that's rough. Whatever.
Dodging.
Right.
Yeah.
So I die. I game over. And they're like, well, we told you had one shot. Your file's gone. And I was like, okay, funny. Press start. Enter the first stage again. I was like, wait a second. And then they tried this at some point in the game before because it's talked about like loops and stuff like that. Nothing changed. It was actually like 1-1. I was like, wait a second. So I closed out, Googled, and there's like entire threads dedicated to this. So like, yep, back up your save before you attempt this boss. And I was just like, the game legitimately deleted my save file. Like they were not joking. They're like, you got one chance at this. I was like, wait, what? Like,
I'll teach you to not listen, you son
right?
of a bitch.
Right? I was just like, but I thought that was within the parameters of like the game's story, not you're actually telling me, the player, you only got one shot at this. I was like, I was a little mad because I was like, I just spent 3 hours getting to this point, like, and some of those bosses were really hard. So yeah, I haven't gone next since because like that really pissed me off, and I was just like, God.
Wow.
So yes,
Audacity.
yeah. And because we talked about like Nier, like I thought it was a cool thing, but they gave you they told you like clearly, like,
Yes.
hey guys,
I
like
didn't.
you could give up your save
yes.
file, and it's like, you know what, I'm not gonna do that right now, but I'll come back to it. So I was a little peeved off that, but I thought it was a funny / interesting story to share.
No,
Still
definitely.
think it's a great
That's
game and
cool.
all, but
Good,
yeah.
PSA there.
Yeah.
Whew. All right, Mike.
I've been a little bit all over the place again, which is usually an indication that I'm ready for a
New
game.
thing.
New game.
Mm-hmm.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah,
Well,
there's
it sounds like got two people doing Paper Mario. Maybe two of us will be doing Ghosts then.
Yeah, maybe. But so for me, I finished up. I went back again to Yakuza Zero. I knew that there's a thing where you do all the sub stories, which is basically side missions. For each character, you get a secret boss fight or a new character. So I was close with one of the characters, and I finally did. The last thing I couldn't do in this for this guy was beating the last boss of a disco dancing minigame, which is the hardest thing I did in this game so far, is trying to win this dance battle.
Is it like a rhythm game where you have to press like buttons as a hover over?
It's in between. The way it works is you have your little icon on like a grid, and there's individual button presses that you have to hit in rhythm, but you need to step as much as you can, do for a number of steps in all the other grid spaces before you land on that to get your score up. So
Okay.
you need to deviate as much as you can within the rhythm, sort of, and land on the thing in the right time, or else if you don't hit it at the right time, all those steps won't count. So it's really hard, especially
hard.
at higher levels of it. And it was kind of fluky when I finally did it. And then that allowed me to fight the actual like combat in the game. This last like boss thing, special boss, who was very difficult. But nothing is very difficult in this game with the items you can use. But it took me 3 tries. This guy, which is at the point I was at, hasn't happened at all in a long time. So that was cool. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it with the other character, the more main character, Kiru, because he has a few more sub-stories, which are kind of annoying. But I'm ready for Kiwami 3, which apparently now you shared is coming at the end of the month.
Is it 3 or 2?
Yeah.
Or 2, whatever. It's 2.
Yeah, 0, 1.
It's the
third one in the series.
Yeah, it's the third of this remastered series, which might be the end of my time with it. I'm not sure. But yeah. So I'm looking forward to that, but I don't know. Obviously, it'll still be there. And then I went randomly. Actually, it's because I saw a YouTube video of someone playing Turtles Tournament Fighters again. So I went back and played the Genesis version of that. I tried my Retron to see if that Genesis port would work. It held up this time, so maybe it's better. I don't know. I haven't played it in at least a year. It held up.
Some cooldown.
Yeah, and then I also tried, while I had that out, I switched it to the NES port. This thing I got I want to say a little while ago too, when I played the NES Batman for the first time.
Nice. Yeah.
Which is hard, but it's a serviceable game. I never had the NES as a kid, so this is like how I try it out kind of now. And I got to, I think, the third section of the second level before I just, all right, because it's hard.
For this.
But I might go back to it and see how far I can go again. It has a decent continue system. It's not one of those things where you have to start from the very beginning. You can start with the level when you lose all your continues. So that was something. And then because I had to service a car today, which took forever. I didn't service the car. I had to wait for it to get serviced.
Oh,
Okay.
What the heck?
I was like,
No, I brought
playing games and go ahead.
No, so I brought a Switch, which I haven't played in a while personally. I went back to that grindy Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 stuff. And I had to break out the X-Men because they were my strong characters. Because the latest Fantastic Four stuff, you need to beat that story mode thing that they added 3 times to unlock a character. And the third time around, it's so up-leveled, it's ridiculous. Like, it says it's recommended level 210, and the previous level cap was 100 before this. I'm like, yeah. So my best characters are 120 something. But they can do it, so I think it's kind of lying a little bit about the recommended level. But it's still my level 100 is my regular baseline characters, and the Fantastic Four, they couldn't handle it. I needed to bring my X-Men out, who are my highest level guys.
The big guns. Had to bring out the big guns.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see what this last character is. I think I probably know who it is, but I'm curious to see more how he plays. So that's cool too. So I've been all over the place.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. All right. Before we get in the news, I want to mention the fact that I finally snagged myself a unicorn in the Switch Fit.
Ring Fit?
Adventure?
Ring Fit Adventure. That'll be here tomorrow. So look for that next podcast.
I thought you were going to say when you snag yourself a unicorn, you found an enjoyable moment in GTA 5.
No. So I get Ring Fit Adventure and Paper Mario coming this week for the Switch. So that's good news. So look for that next week. I'll be talking about that. But all right, news this week. Yeah, what happened? They posted, by the way, and it was 30 seconds into the post, and I'm like, on Twitter, I was CAG that posted it. I'm like, I don't know if I should get this now, and I'm like, why the fuck am I thinking about this? Just buy it and return it if I don't want it to Amazon or sell it. So I just bought it because I seriously thought about it for 30 seconds. I'm like, no, just buy the damn thing. This is stupid. If not, you can just flip it. So yeah. So I just bought it.
Never hesitate, Jim.
I hesitated for 30 seconds. I was very lucky to still get it because it sold out a minute later. But all right, Sony invests $250 million in Fortnite maker Epic Games. That's leading the news here. $250 million into Epic Games.
So what is this selling himself out like crazy?
So
what is this?
That's a lot of money. It is a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
That only bought, I believe, 1.5% of their company.
Wow.
Shares. Back, I want to say 10 years ago, I could be off a couple years. Tencent gave them around that same amount, maybe a little bit lower, maybe a little higher, but got I want to say 40% or something.
40% according to this article,
something like that. So just shown how much that company has grown in less than a decade. Right. And primarily, right, from the one game.
So does this mean that the PC releases for Sony games that we've heard so much about will be coming to the Epic store more?
Oh yeah, I mean absolutely. I mean I think Horizon's available on both, and it was funny because Horizon, even when, because it's only pre-order right now for the PC, and I don't even think we mentioned it last week on the pod, or 2 weeks ago on the podcast.
No, we did.
But Horizon's coming to PC. Yep. With high resolution assets. I think customizable frame rate, that kind of whole shebang and stuff like that, which is awesome. PC. All the bells and whistles that you get with the PC. Available on Steam and in the Epic Game Store. But to me, that definitely shows that Sony has a vested interest, especially between that and Death Stranding, which was supposed to be a PS4 exclusive. They're fine with you think, hey, look, we made the majority of the money off of this being a PS exclusive game. It's okay to let people who are entrenched PC players that probably won't have a PlayStation and never will own a PlayStation. Yeah, let's sell it to them at a slightly discount because it's an older game, and still sell millions of dollars and promote their IP and net worth and stuff like that. So it's just a win-win situation all around. And I mean, honestly, like that's great. Like for some games where I don't need to play them right off the bat, I'll wait for a PC version. Other stuff like Spider-Man 2, that's going to be a day one purchase, like on PS5. There's no way, hesitation. But I think it's awesome, and hopefully it just leads to more fruitful endeavors because and again I got to give props to Microsoft for doing that because that's where they're like I remember saying it didn't make sense that Microsoft was like, hey, you have Windows, you have Xbox, but you're not releasing games on the other when you clearly could and stuff like that. And because Xbox One floundered, they really had to think outside the box, and that was awesome that they're like, hey, look, you buy it once, you own it. Great.
They've doubled down more on that now, mandating that like third parties cannot charge for converting to the Xbox Series X.
Yeah, we'll see about that when we get there. I imagine there's going to be some. I just imagine there's some scummy way that EA and 2K and all that stuff, they're going to find a way to squeeze $10-$20 out of people to play the next gen version. But
I agree.
And here's my hope here though is that if Xbox does well with that let's say you buy Spider-Man 2 on the PS5 and then 2-3 years later it gets ported to PC. And you get the PC copy. That would be amazing. That would be awesome. Amazing.
That would be awesome.
It's a long shot, but we'll see.
Yeah. In worse news, Ubisoft's allegations of sexual misconduct have gone even further to pretty much their entire board.
We're
so
getting into the shit on Ubisoft's portion of our podcast now.
Yeah, I don't really typically shit on Ubisoft.
No, we don't.
I know, but between this and their event things, it's.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Guys, it's going to be shit on Ubisoft for the next 15 minutes. So if you're an Ubisoft fanboy, skip ahead or just don't listen to the rest of the episode. Sorry.
Yeah. So
are there?
You were talking about
well deserved though. Well deserved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are
several executives. Sergei Haskoit, probably butchered that last name. Yanis Malat and Cecil Cornett have all stepped down from their executive positions due to recent allegations of misconduct. And I also saw that was their vice president of gaming is what's taking over for the company now because nobody else can do it because everybody else is stepping down essentially.
No. And actually that's Cecily. That was actually a woman, but she didn't explain why. She just like I should step down, judging by everything I've seen.
She read the room. Yeah.
Something like that.
This is bad.
Well, they allowed this stuff to go on forever, and that's the problem. It's Cecily. Okay, sorry. It's
Yeah, and I just want to note real quick, sorry to interrupt you, but so Jason Schreier came out with a tweet the one day that said, with Sergei Haskoit or whatever like that, he was the most, allegedly, powerful creative force at the company, and I'm quoting his tweet, and the man at the center of multiple recent allegations involving abuse and abating abuser is resigning. Blah, blah, blah. But he goes on to say that Sergei was the man in charge of all of their games, and that with one word, he could greenlight or cancel a project. And many Ubisoft lower-level employees believe he was too powerful and close to the CEO to ever be ousted, no matter how many allegations emerged. So,
wow,
definitely good that it's finally happening. Unfortunate that it took this long and whatnot, but good to see it tore down. Personally, a little disappointed that they didn't even mention anything at the beginning of their Ubisoft Forward or whatever stream that they did the other day. I'm just like, you guys were so quick to jump on that Black Lives Matter thing, which I'm not trying to take away of or discredit at all, but like they were like, yep, we're on that. It's like you had like weeks, if not months, if not years, to talk about this kind of shit, and you're like, yeah, now's not the time. It's like,
yeah,
interesting.
They've lost like what, at least 50 to 60% of their executive staff, maybe was it 75% even? I don't know.
Yeah.
They lost a lot.
Wow.
Like I said, the vice president of, I can't remember what it is actually looked like is stepping in for the role of CEO of the company. So like, I forget how many stages that is when you go CEO, COO, and vice president. Like you have like these rankings, but because so many people have stepped down, it's like this person is the most like qualified, plus seems to be the most honorable of the group that can be given this title of running the company. I have to look up who that was exactly, but it's crazy that they had this much fallout from this situation. Like I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Well, I mean, what's crazy is that
this mismanaged.
Probably been happening for such a long time that everybody probably knew. I mean, all these people knew what was going on.
Like Tony just mentioned, that guy could greenlight anything with a word. It's like that guy clearly had way too much power. So it's terrible to think about. Like we said last podcast about what's been going on in this world, the gaming world, and Evo getting canceled was a huge step, I think, for like letting developers and publishers know that people are done with this shit. Like, we're ready to see this change, and now we're starting to see this. Hopefully, this fallout is a good thing. Where you get
I think it's important that like Black Lives Matter thing is not just Black lives. Like, obviously, it is important, but like every life matters. Like, all lives matter.
That's like, not like I said, that was not what it was about. It was Black Lives Matter because that's what was going on there, and that's what this is essentially. Like, this is what matters here. It's obviously there's a ton of stuff going on, all lives matter kind of thing, but it's like, this shit needs to stop. Just like the persecution of like what's happening to African Americans, it needs to stop. And that's really what this awareness is about. And I'm happy to see this change happening from Ubisoft and from like I said, Evo, big company that had a big problem with that. Hopefully they can rebound and come back. And if you have a guy who apparently, I didn't even know that Sergey had that power, yes or no, from what he thought of you, does not have that power anymore, I think, what else could we have missed from a game? Let's say somebody pitched a game that was fucking great, but he hated you. I mean, that's the problem.
That's the other thing that might be a good side effect of this, is that it's just someone with that much power isn't good for your product.
No, it's not. Right.
So
it's again, like,
terrible news. It's terrible news, but it's good that we're finally seeing.
It's good that it finally happened, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I would even say it's good news because I'm sure you can find this if you look hard enough, pretty much everywhere. So every time it's found out, it's good news.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. We've got a Lego set that's actually a Lego set, but of the NES console. I'm psyched for this. I'm getting this. No question about it. You can make it's a scrolling Mario level in a Lego.
That's cool because like I posted that leak and I was just like, okay, there's a static image, but like they made it like playable in terms that like you could scroll.
I got messaged on Facebook and so many other places about this as you were messaging that whole thing too. Like, I was already reading it, but I'm like this is so cool of a setup. Like, this is what I wanted from the Lego thing, which is funny because I'm still getting the Lego Mario game because I've already hyped up I have a 7-year-old here, and I told her about Lego Mario and she saw the video on YouTube and she's like, we have to get this. I'm like, yeah, we're getting this. So I'm getting the Mario Lego game as well. But you got a 7-year-old who's as hooked on Legos as I am.
Let me check my Nintendo stock price real quick. I just just say where we're at. Go ahead.
Yeah. Lego's partnership is a great idea for Nintendo. We said that before when they said that.
Perfect. Like, I think that's what I've been wanting for years. Because all they had was those shitty was it Connects or whatever?
Constructs of like Mega Constructs. Yeah, like Halo's got it, but they're not with Lego. Yeah.
It's like,
I'm sorry. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's not the same. But I think like if you do like Nintendo properties, if you could get like a Zelda, like if you could build a Zelda set, oh my God, that would be fucking incredible. I mean,
that's the thing is I think they have that like Lego creative like pitch a design thing where like you can submit something, people vote on it, and it will go like.
Wasn't that how like Voltron?
That's how the Voltron came to be, right?
Yeah.
I think that's how the Friends thing came to be and stuff like that. Somebody pitched a Breath of the Wild Zelda set, and it got to like the thing, but they rejected. They're saying too many issues with the IP or whatever like that, and that was unfortunate because like I mean Nintendo's pretty protective of their IP, but obviously it's like Nintendo's like, let's make it rain.
Lego is such a premium price. They have to love it. It fits. Those two companies fit together like Lego. It just like
Lego blocks.
Yeah, like Lego blocks. It just fits. Like, they're both premium price products that they're usually worth the price. Like, if you use knocked off Legos, this is not a Lego. Like, I've seen dollar store Legos here because I've seen it with like I said, I have a 7-year-old here. I've seen these dollar store Legos. Holy shit, they're terrible. When you get the real Lego, as I just had to repair my Star Wars thing up here. I had to order specific parts for my Lego because I didn't want to get the knockoff pieces. But when you get those and they fit together, there's just like that click, that
feeling.
that feeling. And it's the same thing with Nintendo products. They're like, they have their own premium product, like where you said they're very protective of their own IPs. They only put them out for certain people. But like when you have that certain mesh that works, then this is it. I mean, if this was like the only other company that would work, the only company would work would be like Apple with Nintendo. Like there was something with that would work, make it a partnership. I don't know, but like
they tried that
product.
Mario
I know.
Run,
I'm just
whatever
saying,
it was.
like those are the only things that you could see would make sense, and this definitely makes sense. So I'm pretty psyched for this, without a doubt.
It's about time. That's all I can say.
All the consoles.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like personally, I'll probably skip out on it just because like I am cutting down on a lot of like just like things that will just like
frivolous.
lay around. Right, frivolous.
Yeah.
Like if I want it, like and I'm like gonna use it, it's fine. But like the thing is like I'm already trying to get rid of like a lot of stuff. And it's one of those like Marie Kondo things. Like, look, I'll buy something, it'll make me happy for a little while, and then I'll sell it, give it away, something like that.
I flipped the Metroid amiibo.
Yeah, those are.
I sold it for $100. I got it for $100. Yeah. I bought that for like I think it was 20. I think this was a double pack, so I got it for $20 with the 5% off at Target. So I made the $80 in that thing.
Dude, it's crazy.
Nice.
Like some of those like that's what I'm talking about. Some of these amiibo, like they just crazy random mess. But anyway, I really do hope eventually we just get a Lego Nintendo game. Like even if it, like they do like the lowest hanging fruit, where just like okay, it's like the Lego Star Wars, Harry Potter,
Marvel,
DC, Marvel, whatever. Even if it's that, like I'd still be happy. But like hopefully they could come up with something even more like inventive, creative than that, because obviously I think Nintendo would have a lot of input. Be like, hey, we could do this or we could do that and stuff like that.
I mean, Lego Mario. I'm sorry, it's low hanging fruit. It works. I mean, you get the blocks, you got the question. I mean, it's there already. I mean, you can make a Lego Mario game pretty simply with like merging the worlds.
Right, exactly. And the thing is too is like you look at some of those other things like Lego Star Wars, like they make like Darth Vader like a joke because it's like oh whatever, it's a kids game and stuff like that. Like you don't need to do that with Mario. Like they already like lend themselves to that demographic so well anyway.
And he's smashing blocks, which are Lego. You
Lego,
smash,
right.
You can see it.
Like Mario is
bricks,
breaking
Jim.
bricks.
Don't call them Legos. They're bricks.
Yeah, they're bricks. Yes, but it's right there. So all right, what else we have in the news? We've got NVIDIA. This is the dangers of E3 again. Back to dangers of E3. Watch Dogs Legion. The build we saw apparently is not going to be possible with what's available now for us as PCs. PCs, forget consoles. PCs. The best NVIDIA card that you can buy on the market right now cannot run Watch Dogs Legions in 1080p 60 frames per second.
Which is funny because the game isn't all that impressive looking.
But the game has a lot of ray tracing and stuff mixed into it, and that's the problem. It's a large world because of all the recruitable characters. It's a recruitable character. Everybody's got stories. The game is big, and because of that, it's like I understand the scope of it, but don't sell us. The visuals will not be on par with what we saw.
But right, that's exactly what happened with Watch Dogs 1. Do you remember the Watch Dogs 1?
Yeah, that's why this is big.
I remember specifically saying, I don't know about this.
That's why this is big, because it's going to happen
again. That was
again.
the Xbox One PS4 announcement or whatever. The first game on the next gen console or whatever.
Yeah. You can't run this on a $1,000 graphics card. Yeah, you can't run this on this graphics card right now, which is the highest end titanium graphics card out there.
Yeah. So
it's unbelievable what they're still doing that. Like you have specs. I'm sorry, but forget PCs. Let's say consoles. You have an idea of they knew what was going in these next generation consoles for how many years? They know. You got an idea. How do you try to oversell something like this to people unless you're just being fucking shady?
It's Ubisoft, man.
It's fuck Ubisoft, right?
Fuck Ubisoft.
But did you see or hear from any of the people who actually got some hands-on time with this game?
I'm not saying it's not big. I'm actually interested in this game quite a bit.
I mean, the impressions are not great, but
I was actually interested in it. See, I think it's a cool idea of there's next man up kind of style of heroes.
It's my concern was you're not going to have any real character connection that way. And apparently in they had a 3-hour demo, a few people had repeated like recruitment missions with multiple characters saying the same thing already. I'm like,
Oh, really?
yeah. So I don't know.
No sweetie coding. That's what I'm
Oh,
hearing.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there has to be some limitations or whatever, but you like to me, like I didn't play any of the Watch Dogs games, but this one, at least on the premise surface level, sounded kind of cool because that whole concept was similar to Zombie U, which is actually still one of my favorite Wii U games that leveraged the gamepad in the best way, because that's what it was. Like, you played as a character, they had a little bit of a backstory and whatnot, and it's like once they died, it's like, cool, like who's up next? Oh, like the bus driver. Fuck.
Well, that's like what State of Decay does too. It's like,
oh, does it? Yeah.
Same idea.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of this was a
permadeath.
great idea, but I mean, I can see that being a worry, Mike. We said that back when we saw it, like how attached can you get to characters? But like Zombie U, I thought was, Tony raved about it. I never played that game, but it's meant to be that story, not the characters. So hopefully we still get that. That's why I was psyched in this, but I don't know. We'll see.
I expect it to be a bunch of copy and paste stuff.
Oh, I'm sure at some point, we'll see.
Reskinned. So,
I mean, it should be something.
Last bit of news was the PlayStation page went live for Amazon, so pre-orders will be live soon. That usually means. So
soon.
When are we? Well, I think we're getting pricing then before the end of the month.
Soon. Who knows? I mean, it's midway through July. All right.
I thought we'd have pricing by now.
Right, exactly. Like the systems should be coming out. I mean, no later than November, right? I doubt they would do December launch, right? Like that seems really late. So it's like 4 months. You got 1 quarter left. Basically, it's like.
I mean, there are print ads out in the world right now for Xbox Series X.
So.
No.
I mean, we're getting the price for Series X in August. There's no question. That's why there's July 23rd. I think we're getting priced on July 23rd. So is Sony setting themselves up to follow this announcement? Like they know this already.
I saw a funny joke tweet. I forget it was Matt. I think it was Matt Scatella from MPT, where he's like, he ran a poll on his Twitter. He's like, when will Sony and Microsoft reveal the prices
I
of
voted
their
on that
systems?
poll.
Or it's like,
after it comes out.
before they launch, B, after they launch. I'm like, B, after they launch.
So did I. 60% of the people voted for that, by the way. He was very impressed. He's like, thank you. But yeah, it's the thing. We're not going to get this on July 23rd because July 23rd is their first party games only, and then they were going to talk about the console.
August is the Lockhart or whatever
That's where you assume you'll get your pricing, because then you'll get the Lockhart pricing as well as the Series X.
Yeah, they have to reveal the prices in August, because at some point, like, the retailers need to know the exact price. So they can place, orders.
They got to run promotions. I mean, GameStop's got to do their trade-in stuff. I mean, they have to.
Ooh, waiting for that, boy.
Yeah, me too. I'm stocked up and ready to go.
That's like the only way I would upgrade to next gen is like if GameStop, because this is it. Like GameStop, I don't think they're going to survive to see PS6 and whatever. Unless somebody buys them out or something like that. So got to make one last run of these guys.
I gotta hope they go nuts with this promotion. I'm hoping it's pretty impressive. That's what I'm hoping for.
Me too.
So, yep. All right. Let's talk about, as we teased in the beginning of this, X-Men games that we played. Have we played that definitive, like that great X-Men game yet? And I would argue we have not, because I didn't play Legends, so that's my.
That's your problem.
Yes, but I did play Ultimate Alliance, and that was very good. But it's it's a Marvel game, not an X-Men game.
Then if you want an X-Men game version of that, just play X-Men Legends.
But I heard Origins Wolverine was excellent.
Yeah, no, that is, but it's a Wolverine game.
Okay.
Yeah, right. So like the thing I would say is like if that's the question, my ideal dream X-Men game would be like, I don't know, I'm just assuming like a third person action adventure title where you need different squad based where you select a team, you go out and like you have parts of the world or the stages or whatever. It's like, well, okay, like I'm using really terrible like just low hanging fruit. It's like, oh look, like there's a fiery level, like you need to bring like an Iceman or another elemental like frost or ice person to like freeze the level so you can access it or something like that. Or
I look at it like secret areas. I look at it like you play the game with anybody you like, but there's certain areas that can only be accessed by certain X-Men. That's where I looked at it. We haven't had that yet.
If there's an area where you need to make a bridge, then you can get Iceman or Magneto.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's certain
X-Men
abilities.
Legends 2.
Legends 2 had that?
You you guys are describing X-Men Legends and X-Men Legends 2. Like this, that
I
those
played
were
Legends
the
1. I don't remember that.
those
But
were
I
the
know it's been a while.
That
ideal
had-
X-Men.
Legends 2 was at the end of the 360 life, wasn't it? It was like right at the end of it.
No, this
Xbox.
is
That's Xbox.
Oh,
man.
Xbox Live.
Okay.
Xbox Live. I'm sorry.
This is
I'm sorry.
GameCube
Xbox Live.
type. These are games
Yeah.
I played on GameCube. Yep.
I actually
But that
have
was like
Legends 2 downstairs still
yeah.
on Xbox.
So that was the precursor to the Ultimate Alliance games.
Yeah,
It was
and
like-
the Ultimate Alliance games are actually a little
It's
streamlined.
basically like Children of the Atom turned into Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah, that was a good game. See, like that, we've played those, and I'm just trying to think of like Spider-Man and the X-Men. There was
This is kind of why, like, while I enjoy Ultimate Alliance 3, I'm a little disappointed because, like, when I think of what my ideal X-Men game would be, it would be a modernized version of those X-Men Legends games.
But
Where
you don't want something like Batman with the X-Men.
I mean,
I'm just giving it
Batman,
up. Let's say it
is
could exist, Mike.
an individual character type game. Like, I know they try to add in Night, they had the like tag team thing, but it doesn't really work that well.
We're supposed to be getting a Suicide Squad game, which is the squad game. So
Yeah, we'll see how that works. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. But to me, I think the X-Men Legends, you control one of the four, or you cooperatively you switch in and out, and that certain abilities get you certain places, have certain enemies that are more prone to being damaged by certain types of attacks and stuff. You have, like, Iceman can freeze up your arms and stuff, so you have some damage and, like, attack boosts. There's synergies type things there too. There was a lot going on with those old games, and but it's an old game now, and back then.
Well, that's what I said. Like, if we had those good experiences, like X-Men Arcade, is that a good game, first of all, or is it just a nostalgia game?
It was good for its time.
I think it was a good game.
Play
Good
it,
for what it was.
Right.
It had terrible dialogue.
And that's what that's where I guess I would say it's like don't get me wrong. Like, I love the X-Men arcade game. I love X-Men Legends. I didn't play the second one, in Marvel Ultimate Alliances. But at the end of the day, like, they're just maybe a little bit too simplistic, because at the end of the day, like, they're both just beat 'em up games, right? Like, I want something just a little bit meatier.
Not really, but
They are.
What?
They're
I mean,
based on
you can play it that way, but the again, like, Ultimate Alliance is streamlined compared to what X-Men Legends was. There's a lot more specific character gear, and you can choose
Right, it was like more
what to
Diablo.
level up. Yeah, there's a lot going on there, but again, like, I just want, like, if this, let's say this Avengers Marvel game that's coming out was an X-Men game, and it had aspects like that. Like, if it was something that looked similar to this newer game and had, this sort of squad-based, like, RPG aspects that the X-Men Legends game have, I think that would be ideal. But I don't know if we're ever going to get anything like that, because the closest thing would be Ultimate Alliance 3, and that's just sort of something kind of different right now.
Yeah, it's a little bit more like I like the best comparison I can make is, like, just the way they did Spider-Man, and that's Insomniac. The way they did Spider-Man, like, I would love to see that kind of budget and care and good fan service done to, like, the X-Men, where it's like, I don't know, again, like, maybe you start out in because they're based in New York, I think, right?
Yeah, upstate.
Upstate, yeah. Like, and you could fly, like, the Blackbird to, like, different missions and stuff like that, and maybe it could just be different routes for the story mode. Like, hey, like, you don't have the squad, the whole squad.
Make an X-Men Mass Effect game.
Right, you could be like an RPG.
I mean, that makes sense too, because that was all about your team and their specific abilities as well.
Two, yeah, especially two, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Work.
But no, there's been a lot of great ones too. Honestly, like, I think back to the side-scrolling ones on Genesis, the X-Men.
Well, that's what I was looking up now. I mean, you're looking at, like, Arcade's Revenge,
Clone Wars and stuff
Yeah.
too. After that, then there's even Super Nintendo ones I played.
Mutant
Arcade's
Apocalypse.
Revenge.
Mutant Apocalypse was
Yeah.
Those are trash.
And then
I
there
don't
were,
play trash.
and then
Yeah.
there were the Wolverine games too. X-Men
like-
Origins Wolverine, better than the movie version by a bit. The game was good. There's single-player X-Men games that have been pretty good too. There's been a fighting game, X-Men, like Shattered.
What about, like,
Something.
what about NVC? What about MVC? We get
mean,
great
it's
versions of
mostly
these
an
characters.
X-Men games, yeah. I mean,
That's what I'm
Well,
saying.
I mean, you
like,
had the specific one, which was Children of the Atom.
X-Men. Yeah, Children
Yeah.
of the
well,
Atom.
it's Children of Adams, yes, but we, you know, that's based off of those. But it's like,
Well,
those
Children
are
of the
based,
Atom was first.
those are
yeah.
based off of that. I'm sorry, I meant to say it that way. But like, those were great versions of Cable in a game like that was really fun to play. Sentinel. We had these great Magneto. All these characters are the best versions of them in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So it's like, I don't know, that's a good representation of a great, like, a playing. That's part of the draw for me of Marvel vs. Capcom by itself was the X-Men in it. Forget the Marvel.
No, absolutely. Like I enjoyed that too. Like it was great for the fighting games.
Yeah, and I would say like there's a very big I don't want to say possibility. There's a big likelihood that reason that Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite bombed was just because they didn't. It feels like they didn't
iconic characters.
They didn't have those iconic fan favorites, and they
palette swapped basically. Like,
yeah,
I guess Doctor Strange will be Magneto, guys.
Yeah,
Here you go.
That's exactly. I remember somebody was like, "Oh, people just care about functions. We don't need characters." I'm like, I don't want to play as Doctor Strange. I want to play as fucking Magneto.
Same.
I want to play as Cable. Like, I don't care if you put in, Rocket Raccoon and he plays the exact same. I want Cable, not Rocket Raccoon.
That's the thing. Like, those X-Men are iconic characters that you want to play as, and I don't know. Like, I feel like out there we could still experience that squad-based game, like Tony was saying, where it's, it mixes a little bit of X-Men Legends from what I'm hearing.
Right. I don't want to say like I'm shitting on it. Like, take the X-Men Legends formula, update it a bit, make it a little bit deeper in a lot of aspects, bring it up to a certain budget. Because like
throw more money at it.
Like titles, right? Exactly. Like give it a Spider-Man budget. Like what? 100 million?
Like I said, I actually
like that.
really would love to see like a story-driven X-Men game in the vein of Mass Effect. That's what I was thinking. It's like because you have like maybe obviously you can't have Charles Xavier going out and doing everything, but he's still got his hover chair, whatever. But like you have like
go to the astral plane like you did in X-Men Legends.
So just like you go out recruiting your X-Men and then going on missions with them, and but I would love to see a story-driven game, not necessarily just it's like there's like
that's
little sprinkles of story in Legends. It's like there's a story to it, but the feature of that game is the customization.
They tried that.
Elements and beat 'em up.
Do you remember they tried that with X-Men Destiny, which
oh no,
wow,
we don't talk about that.
Forgot about that one.
I know.
When you were describing your game, Tony, like initially I was like, oh my gosh, they kind of did this with this.
I know, but that's what I'm trying to say. They tried
this game like discontinued or something? It's like
it's like
I think it's kind of rare now.
Yeah, it's like it's not even. But like you don't even get to play as X-Men.
That's the problem. Like you had to play as somebody else that was. I heard the game actually played fine, but you could not play. I heard it played fine, but you could not play as
bad all around.
Garbage, trash.
No, I heard it played fine. Like gameplay wise, like played fine, but you couldn't play as any of the X-Men that you wanted to play.
There was also that Deadpool game that was supposedly decent too.
Yeah. So
I don't know, but no, so it would be a modernized up in budget version of X-Men Legends.
You want another beat 'em up, but more modernized.
Well, not again like a beat 'em up with like deep RPG like.
Well, Diablo. You want Diablo for X-Men is what you want.
I guess that's what that was. I never played Diablo.
It was similar, so I know that. And then like loot-based kind of things, but where you upgrade your mutants based on what unique items. So, all right. I think that's it for this podcast. I think that's gonna wrap it up. Thanks for listening. You can write us podcast at allyoucangeek.net. Follow us on Twitter, allyoucangeek. Like us on Facebook. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe, hit the like button. We appreciate it. See you guys next week. Check out the movie cast if you haven't yet. We're talking about 20th anniversary for the X-Men original movie. See you guys next week.
So old.